This episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped just launched new products to keep you smelling amazing this holiday season, including their all-new Ultra Premium Body Wash and a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's time to give yourself or your loved ones the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and jingle balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use promo code LASERTIME for 20% off plus free shipping.
Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 447 of Video Game Apocalypse. I'm your host, Michael Raparas, coming to you from the Corey Austin Memorial Studio of the Airwaves. If you want it to be the U Memorial Studio of the Airwaves, go to patreon.com/lasertime and join us at the $20 level. Who else is joining me now?
Ooh, ain't nobody gonna tell me how to live, Chris Antista.
And
the Galloping Gourmet, Matthew Allen.
Woo. And happy Black Friday, everybody. We're coming to your ears before the deals do. Here on a beautiful Friday morning out by I-75.
Subway prize man, come on by and win a big prize.
We're recording this before Thanksgiving. It's clearly after Thanksgiving now, but
Indeed.
Hope you had a happy Turkey Day, everyone who celebrates it, all our listeners in America,
well,
Canada.
I know our shit's about food, and I bought a little food for Thanksgiving, even though we are celebrating. I'm celebrating Thanksgiving for the first time outside of a family home. We will be going to the filming site of Creature from the Black Lagoon from 1955, 4 or 5, and eating in a over 100-year-old plus lodge. And so I didn't need to buy that much food. But today, I think I accidentally committed a crime in the Costco. So I'm still pissed about it. I don't like wasting money. I got a little cheese and a little prosciutto for my family to eat.
Prosciutto.
Yeah, a little gabagool, a little hors d'oeuvres. Everyone can enjoy after our meal when we go back to the house to have some pie. And, for this show, of course, I got a gallon of vodka for $8.99 because it's fucking Costco. If you need to know the best gift to give someone, I'm like, I don't have the money to buy a Costco account, even though my parents gave me like here's a year's worth of Costco. I'm like, oh, it's only $60. It's the price of PS Plus to get gallons and gallons of liquor for like a quarter of the price. Holy shit!
PS Plus. That's a great index. The PS Plus index.
But it is, isn't that? It's about the same price. I don't have the executive level. I'm just a regular old Costco member. And for this show, I buy my gallon of Kirkland vodka, and then I fucking get home, and really, like, where's my fucking vodka? I have the receipt. Where'd it go? Like, I must have, like, did I not have my glasses on? It's clear enough. I left it in the shopping cart and put it in the shopping cart return. So as we speak right now, I think there are some teenagers drinking like the most vodka they have ever found for free in their life that I inadvertently bought them, and then probably building a monument to me.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Can I get in trouble for that? If anybody out there is a cop, let me know. I might.
It's good vodka. I mean, the rumor has it that's basically Grey Goose vodka, so
yeah,
not bad.
It's fucking like it's less than $10. If you can drink all that in a night, like one of my friends did, you got a problem. And he did check himself in.
Yeah, that is a problem. But like you said, this is going to be a food themed episode because Thanksgiving is about eating and cooking
food.
And so I was like, well, we've never talked about cooking games, and then I realized I don't know shit about cooking games. How about cooking mini games in non-cooking games?
Yeah.
I think I reviewed like 2 Cooking Mamas.
That makes you an expert?
Times were tough.
I think the problem with doing a cooking game show is that a lot of cooking games are sort of the same. They're all basically just root beer tapper. They're juggling things in real time. It's like, hey, how quickly can you juggle ingredients?
It makes me remember working at editorial with Michael, where we were all so into games and thought we were so hilarious, and that everybody was going to get what we're doing. And I just remember, like, I had so much time with Cooking Mama. I remember I was writing this feature and I just talking to the art director and sending, no, I want you to Photoshop Cooking Mama's face over Anne Bancroft in The Graduate. Everyone's going to get this. And like, Who the fuck would get that? Who can get a Cookie Mama graduate joke? What was I doing, and why did my editors let me get away with it? And why am I asking someone who's more talented than me to help make it? Hi, Cheryl.
I do remember the talks with our EIC saying, like, no, you need to stop writing for people your age and start writing for teenagers because that's who our main audience is. So, when you think celebrities, think Zac Efron. This was like
remember that verbatim.
Yeah,
or that was like even in a doc.
Yeah, Zac Efron, a little graduate reference. I get it. It's the same audience, basically.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Those were the days.
Remember when Zac Efron dated Anne Bancroft? Everyone remembers that.
I'm sure Pete Davidson would find a way.
I remember there was so many people at that company like, you guys need to tone it down, but we're putting together this deck to pitch you guys to advertisers. Can we say you're like Team America? Like, we can't do half the things Team America does. What are you talking about? Why do we need to tone it down? I want to show a puppet throwing up and fucking for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Please. Sorry, why are we talking about this?
I don't know. Cooking mini games.
Cooking mini games.
Yeah, so let's just jump into it right after this.
Get ready to go jingle balls to the walls, fellas. Listen up. The holidays came early here at Laser Time, courtesy of Manscaped, the leading men's hygiene brand.
There is nothing worse than untrimmed body hair and pubes around the holidays. You really don't want to look like the abominable snowman or Santa's beard is coming out of your shirt or pants. You older gentlemen with white or gray pubes know exactly what I'm talking about.
And yes, it may be sweater season, but you don't want to have the world's worst ugly sweater made out of body hair. You need to keep that hair in check with the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0.
There's no better gift for yourself or a loved one we can think of than the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. It comes with everything you need to trim your tree and the hair down there.
Hair down there. Inside the Performance Package 4.0, you'll find the signature Lawnmower 4.0. This electric trimmer has proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to reduce cuts on your nuts.
It's also waterproof, so you can use it in the shower.
The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant, moisturizer, and toner to keep your South Pole feeling and smelling fresh all day long.
The Performance Package 4.0 even comes with a classic stocking stuffer, a pair of Manscaped anti-chafing boxers that'll keep your junk feeling fresh all day. It's the perfect package for your perfect package.
Speaking of stocking stuffers, Manscaped is going beyond the groin and has some amazing new products that make great gifts, like their new Ultra Premium Body Wash. It's infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice, and moisturized.
They also launched their new 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, which has key ingredients with benefits that include hydrating, nourishing, conditioning the scalp, and strengthening your hair at the same time.
'Tis the season to load up on Manscaped products, so get yourself, your dad, your brother, your husband, and friends the best gift of all, the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code LASERTIME at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code LASERTIME, one word, at manscaped.com. Make Santa proud this year. Add Manscaped to your wish list this season.
Your balls will thank you.
Thanks, Mom.
And we're back to talk about what?
Having too much energy.
Cooking mini games,
Yes,
but you jumped in before. I wanted to ask you, like, well, what? Don't we have to have a spin typically with these? I think we're looking for. A lot of games have cooking mini games, but they usually amount to just get ingredients and that's it, right?
The spin, I guess, which is just additional rules because I like having smaller fields to choose from rather than big fields to think about.
We call them arbitrares rules.
That's pretty good, actually.
Arbitrares stipulations. All these top fives have.
Pretty nice. Pretty nice. MST3K Turkey Day. I hope they're doing a marathon. Probably not.
They're going to premiere all the movies, one of which we know is already Gamera. Oh, I can't wait.
Excellent.
Reveal the movie.
So, yes, there are rules to this in that it can't just be like typical crafting game, put two ingredients together, and now you have a cake, whatever. You wait 30 seconds, you have a cake. I'm allowing one entry like that, but only because it's this one specifically.
Number 5.
Oh, not good enough, buddy.
And I think, so the rest of these all have mini games attached to them. Like, there has to be an actual mini game component. But this one feels like it basically is just put things together to craft an item, but it feels so organic the way that Zelda Breath of the Wild handles it.
There's a timing mechanic too, right? You can burn the stuff.
But
you can burn
no,
stuff.
actually, I don't think you can. I mean, it's been a while since I played it, but
I'm trying to remember how you create, like, you can create those abomination dishes. And
the
I
ones
think
they
it's-
blur out like pubic hair.
you mean these?
Yes. That's such. Yeah, there's. I think the gamification is they don't tell you like do exactly what you should do to cook something. It's just like you'll hear it if you combine a bad amount of ingredients.
Yeah.
And there's at least 3-4 different jingles to let you know whether things gelled together. But it's
there is
pretty
like
difficult to fail.
a major success one where it adds an extra underneath it. Yeah, the way that it's done, I love it because it's like you can just hold items that are in your inventory, just hold them in your hand. So you hold like, a piece of meat and some, like a pepper and a carrot, whatever, in your arms, and then you just walk over to like a pan, dump them in, light a fire under the pan, and then they just dance around for a few seconds and create a dish. And it doesn't just extend to that. Like, you can light a fire anywhere and just, like, drop an apple or a piece of meat or a different food item into it. And
that's the one that's timing based.
Yeah, it'll catch fire, and then it'll gradually, like, become, well done meat or whatever.
Yeah, that's the one where, like, you can, in the world, instead of a cooking pot, it's just, you can literally hold a torch under an apple and roast that apple on the tree.
Yeah. I
Just
love
like Elliot from Pete's Dragon.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to do the sound.
I love you too. You're welcome, everyone. Oh, Petey, sweet Petey.
But yeah, I love
Goddamn.
Breath of the Wild. I love that.
Me too.
I think part of the game's charm is how just all of these various systems just feel like an organic part of a living, breathing world, rather than like, okay, now I pull up the food menu and I'm at the stove and here are the recipes. I'll click on these recipes. Oh, do I have the ingredients? I do. Now I've got stew. Whatever.
It's like one of those like early access Steam survival games,
Yeah,
but
right.
simplified
Don't
and
Starve.
pleasant.
Yeah. There's just something, very pleasant about this.
What do I want? A shielding from the heat? I'll just put a single spicy pepper in this group.
Yeah.
This
And
stew of
there's
keep
hints.
me
That's
warm.
the thing. The recipes are kind of intuitive in that you're like, oh, okay, well, this fiery pepper must have something to do with cold or fire.
This will give you
right?
stamina. This will give you hearts.
In many ways, I've probably said this on a show before, and this is going to sound like an insult to Nintendo, but it's not. But it's like, Breath of the Wild is the most Nintendo-like game Nintendo has produced in the past 20 years. So it's the most non-Nintendo now thing to come out, right? Like, if you look at what Nintendo does now, it's all very safe, very standard. If anything, it's like, the game's just kind of the same games with better graphics and sometimes improvements in gameplay. But Breath of the Wild's like, nah, we're going to redefine the Zelda formula again.
Yeah, I sort of hope that's what's happening with the next Splatoon, because it's always charming, but I'm just really not into this as a multiplayer experience. But if you're going to do something weird, open world with these characters and this look, please, I'm all about that. I would love that.
Yeah. And like, I think a big part of the fun of Breath of the Wild is like, it's saying to people our age, like, hey, remember how you felt when you were 7 and you played the first Zelda for the first time? We somehow managed to recreate that feeling for you jaded fucks.
Yeah, we got all
Enjoy.
your letters that said, "I wonder if I could blank," and we threw them all in the.
Yeah.
But I think to
Zelda
recreate the feeling, the point is they actually had to like completely reinvent Zelda, because it's like, to get that same feeling now, so much has changed in games, and it's like they did it again, and so many games have copied them since. Like I got into Genshin Impact this year. That is basically like anime.
Can I express my disappointment? I started out that being a joke that every
gag.
show
I know.
I'm going to say Matt is playing Genshin Impact, and he fucking Heisman'd me by starting to play the game. I can't believe that happened.
That move is called a straight arm, not a Heisman,
My
and yes, I
bad.
did.
It's like bam.
It's
no
it's
more.
what they teach you. Like,
It's
when
like
people
in
make
the
fun of you,
80s
just
of like,
own
Matt,
that.
you're gay. I'm like, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. I spent money on Genshin Impact. I'm
damn
out.
it.
I'm out.
But
But yeah,
yeah.
it's. I mean, but even Ubisoft had a game. I think it's no secret to say, like Immortals: Phoenix Rising was very much inspired
Delicious.
by Breath of the Wild. You know,
And you can get it
and,
now.
and still managed to be good. It was very good.
Yeah, it's extremely good.
You
I think
can get
that's
it
a
now for
formula
the
that
price-
more like I did see people like objecting. It's like, this is just a Breath of the Wild ripoff. Don't you want more games like Breath of the Wild?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like honestly, if Horizon comes out next year and doesn't have kind of a grip meter to climbing, I might be slightly disappointed because it's like climbing before that in open world games was just like maybe spot some yellow markers. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that is a place I can climb versus Zelda's like, no, you can climb anything if you can maintain your stamina meter. Like
Yeah.
that is a huge innovation. Just that slight little tweak, you know?
And if you hadn't been listening to the show a lot, and who would fault you? I started replaying Zelda this year, or Breath of the Wild this year, and it, with the new consoles out and Xbox, even Xbox One X's and PS4 Pros, man, it's Zelda looks older than it looks older than it is. Playing it on a retail launch Switch, it's very chuggy, very bad frame rate, very not HD. I mean, unless you consider 720 HD.
Yeah, you've said that, but I've never had trouble with it. Like, it looks great on my 4K TV.
When did
Are you sure
when
you're
did
not
play it
playing on your
last?
Wii U? Because technically
When did
you
you
can
play it
do
last?
that.
The
Technically.
Switch does have better performance in the Wii U version.
When did you play it last?
A couple of years.
Yeah, like I played it after I got a PS5.
okay.
You do see like kind of a breadth of difference between the two presentations. I'm not kidding, but I never thought that game would get old, look old to me, because there's still, other than Phoenix Immortals Rising, title really rolls off the tongue.
Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, exactly. That's my
Nailed
point.
it.
And, yeah, there's nothing else that feels like it, or as big as and as touchy and tactile as
Right.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And
Love
just allow me to say, that's what she said.
Come on, man.
Well, that's actually a good segue into our
Number 4.
Every single day, stress comes in every way. I ain't got no time for nobody. My style is rich, dope, fat, and rich. We'll make a cake today that looks rich.
who knows what this is.
I wanted
man.
TL was supposed to be here from the P&B podcast.
Yeah, he
and
did.
He-
I wanted
he
to hear
would tell
mispronounce
us.
Parapa's name again.
He would say this is Pa Rappa the rapper.
Paul Rappa.
Paw Rappa. And this is cheating because it's like, well, is it a cooking mini game or is it a level about cooking? Who can tell in a game that's basically mini games? Well, it's basically one mini game, one rhythm game, Parappa the Rapper. This is actually my favorite level, where you go up against Cheep Cheep, the TV chef. Parappa wants to make a cake to impress Sunny Funny, the flower that he has a crush on. And so he doesn't have any money, but he does have some ingredients and a TV chef to help him along. And that gives us this immortal line.
Crack, crack, crack the egg into the bowl. Crack, crack, crack the egg into the bowl. M-I-X the flour into the bowl. M-I-X the flour into the bowl. Baking a cake, yes, means you gotta try. I'm doing this for years, but don't ask me why.
I played this game more than 20 years ago when I was in college, and crack, crack, crack the egg into the bowl has never left my head for a second. It has always been lurking there. I also enjoy this level because Cheep Cheep is on TV, there's like that sort of tinny quality to her music. But if you do badly, she will actually come out of the TV to yell at you, and you can hear the difference in the music.
Crack, crack, crack the egg into the bowl. Crack, crack, crack the egg into the bowl. M-I-X the flour into the bowl. M-I-X the flour into the bowl. Crack, crack, crack the egg into the bowl. Crack, crack, crack the egg into the bowl. M-I-X the flour into the bowl. M-I-X the flour into the bowl.
So yeah, red-faced
Weak dog.
chicken flapping its arms at you. As,
Weak dog. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you are cooking eggs with a chicken.
Well, it's her show, man. I'm just following her directions, like with every other.
It's like, I saved the
Rat
placenta.
master.
We're going to make a recipe with it. This will be delightful.
Furthermore, that the rhymes were whack. And is that
damn.
you're doing bad version?
I guess the rhymes are always the same. It's just your timing that's
I'm
off.
out of rap terminology.
Yeah.
Bars or something.
Yeah. I like the the actress doing Cheep Cheep has like an interesting accent, and they're like, egg into the bowl, and yeah, I don't know.
I think it's kind of like she's saying, "Bark." She's kind of got this crack the egg into the bowl. It's like a little chicken
maybe that's
accent.
what she's going for. Maybe that's what she's going for. Also, there's a Thanksgiving theme.
The other day, I was called a little turkey, but I'm a chicken, got it? Your beef jerky?
Ooh, iceberg. Also, unlike I think every other recipe on this list, this is the only one absolutely guaranteed to give your character diarrhea. Like, the next scene after him eating the cake is him getting sick and having to fight every other character that he's rapped against for access to, like, the only working public toilet, including Cheep Cheep, who also has the runs from her own, presumably from her own recipe.
Walk the walk, even if you can't just talk the talk. Ah, I got a call. I am a chicken from the kitchen, and I ain't kidding, although nothing is written.
You are a chicken from the kitchen, and you ain't kidding, although nothing is written.
Crack, break, fix the door, you know. I gotta go, so yes, open up, you know.
Crack, break, fix the door, you know. I gotta go, so yes, open up, you know.
I've never understood the logic of like, oh, you repeated everything I just said on meter, you're clearly the superior rapper.
Yeah, well, you're a pretty great hype man, but I don't know about best rapper.
This is true. Yeah, you're like Flavor Flav.
Yeah. Somebody,
I love that.
Call up Messiah Matsura, go back in time 25 years, relabel your game Parappa the Hype Man.
Right, yeah, there you go. Well, I like how, like, rap has changed so much, where it's like, if you listen to rap now and heard this, you'd be like, what is this, like, Flintstone commercial bullshit? And it's like, no, that's how rappers used to be, like, in the 80s and 90s, like, listen to, like, MC Lyte and Queen Latifah. That's exactly how they rap. Everything was just, kind of story sing-songy rap.
Yeah,
you know?
you gotta say it kind of like you're laughing everything. This has been your rap lesson from Chris Antista, a 41-year-old who doesn't listen to it.
This is also not the only Parappa level that's devoted to food. In fact, a lot of the second game was themed around food, because there's the son of the guy who used to run the burger restaurant is obsessed with noodles and wants to replace all food with noodles. But before that, you do have to take over his restaurant because he's just making all the burgers into noodles, and it's not ideal.
That's what I'm talking about.
Just wanted to throw that in there somewhere because it's also a food prep level.
It's very weird, like, having grown up with Nintendo and being a lifelong Nintendo fan and being a little older with the PlayStation generation. But, you know, there are PlayStation fans out there like Nintendo games, and seemingly, why aren't you guys bothering PlayStation every day for another Parappa? They trot them out and they sell figures. It's like, what? When is this going to be not fun? Other than the one they released on, like, the Vita that didn't work. There was that.
But there was also a remaster on PS4 like 2 or 3
years
ago
didn't fucking work.
I don't think anyone bought.
Yeah. I bought it. It just didn't work. It was the timing was off. Like, the amount of faith Sony's first party has given in Astro Bot. Really? Parappa can't have like a $20 new music game come out, multiple storylines like the original. It's not a huge game.
But it was the reason for Astro Bot's a little different though. That is their tech studio. So like the Astro Bot games are always about evangelizing like the latest tech. That's why they had such a good VR game, and the PS5 that is basically still like the best showcase PS5 game there is.
If I should thank you, fairy godmother, I got a PS5 this weekend and started playing Astro Bot again. And again, just want to say, like I think I said before, my previous PS5 was clunky and weird. The process was really easy. Signed in with my ID and was instantly playing Astro Bot from where I left off a year ago.
Like, it's great. The cloud
that was pretty neat on a brand new system that didn't know who I was. That's what the future is. Holy crap! And my fucking Assassin's Creed Valhalla save like rolled over. Like, what the fuck? I forgot this all worked. That's nuts. Anyway, Parappa.
Yeah, Parappa.
Pa Rappa.
I think
Pa
we
Rappa.
probably talked enough about Pa Rappa. Let's talk about another Pa who doesn't
Let's
rap.
talk about Ma Rappa. I'm a old little mother. And
It's all in your mind if you want to. Okay, go.
All right, here we go.
へい、お待ち。
やわ。
いっちょ上がれ。
ずれ。ごちそうさま。
いっちょ上がれ。
So, Matt, what is that?
You see me backing up to grab this to hold up to the camera for you to see.
I
All
see,
podcast listeners, I wish you could see what it is.
It is my Cosmic Kiryu Tubbs duck holding a bicycle as a weapon, because this is the ramen mini game from Yakuza 5.
It is. It is. It's fairly simple. Like, it's more food serving than food prep, but you have, like, 4 lanes that you have to watch of, like, you know, ramen orders that are coming in, and they will ask for noodles of various firmness. When they order, like, the meter will rise and you'll have to stop it right where, like, is it extra hard, somewhat hard, very
Right,
soft,
right.
etc. And
Well, you got to earn that Ramen King title and get that trophy.
yeah, absolutely.
From I think it's Tatsuya Noodles, and this is so it's outside of Kamurocho. This is the Nagasugai region of 5, because 5 went there. Man, 5 was such a huge game. But yeah, to the point where like I played this, got the trophy, and didn't spend a ton of time in here. But it was just, you know, another reason we love the Yakuza games. They add so much flavor and variety to their worlds, and like to have like. It's a noodle stand along the waterfront, if I remember correctly, right? It's just like a little plastic tent almost,
Yeah,
and you go
yeah.
in and you do the mini game in there.
And it's just like, oh, you're friends with my boss, and like, oh, I love your boss. Have a free bowl of noodles, and you eat the free bowl, and he's just like, oh no, my back suddenly mysteriously went out. I need to sit
Right.
down. Can you handle the Death Niagara customer rush?
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it's a waterfall of customers. We call it Death Niagara. I can't leave now.
Right, because Kiryu's on the lam, basically. Not the lam, but he's kind of like trying to start a new life, and he's a taxi cab driver.
Yeah.
When you first start playing as him in that game, and yeah, so he gets a side hustle as a noodle guy. Times are tough, is what I'm saying. Inflation's out of hand. You can't just drive a cab. You also have to be a ramen noodle chef.
Thank you very much, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
Gas in California is $8 when last year it was $1.87, according to that former guy.
Yeah, when no one was driving anywhere because we couldn't, never mind.
Also, no, it was never $1.87.
No, it was never. It was $1 several years ago.
No, it
That's
wasn't.
because I leave my house every day driving an aqua car with the shell of a Chevy Yukon. It's,
I mean, it was $1 during the George W. Bush years, but I knew
say
at the
so.
time, I'm like, yeah, this feels wrong.
yeah,
Anyway.
no, when I drove out to California, it was $4 a gallon.
Why are you ruining my Yakuza time talking
Sorry.
about? We're talking about, yeah, anyway.
That's the one
gas
thing you
is-
don't do in your Yakuza, as Matt teals it up.
But by the way, yeah, if you think gas is expensive in the States, you should try seeing how much it is in places.
You should try
outside
living literally
America,
everywhere
like Tokyo.
else. Or
example.
England.
Well, it's like it looks expensive, and that's before you find out they charge by the liter, not by the gallon. So
Wow.
it's like really
Wow.
expensive per
Yeah,
gallon.
that's like one Pepsi Shack Big Slam.
So Yakuza, I want to bring it back to cooking because this is a fairly limited cooking minigame, but I'm also using this as an entry point to bring in Yakuza Ishin, one of the samurai Yakuza games that have never been translated and brought to the U.S.
Such a shame.
for
Such a fucking
reasons.
shame.
I don't know what reasons.
I don't know what reasons.
But Yakuza Ishin actually has a fairly detailed cooking minigame where you have like various dishes that you select, and then it's like here is a series of mini games where you will prepare each ingredient.
さあ来い。
Chopping an onion,
よしやるぞ。
it has to roast a piece of fish over a little grill, turn it with chopsticks, make sure it's done evenly.
Love that music.
よし。
He has to do stuff like pouring soy sauce into a pan, but not too much soy sauce, or using a bellows to stoke a fire. It's like there's a lot of stuff. It differs for each dish. And it's kind of cool that that's included, and that has not appeared in any of the Yakuza games that we've gotten, as far as I'm aware.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
usually the folks at Ryuga Gotoku Studio, they go all in on at least one mini game per game, and they really like go in depth, and it's like a super complex. Whereas the other ones are kind of lighter.
Yeah. I think
wonder-
somebody's probably ready to choke me for calling it Yakuza Ishin. It is Ryuga Gotoku Ishin.
Right.
That is the correct title.
And the real pronunciation is Yak-Uza.
Yes.
Yak-Uza. Just
Yeah.
pretend you're Johnny
Yakuza.
Carson.
That's totally how
Yak-
Norm Macdonald would say
Uza.
it.
Yak.
Yeah, you know these Yakuzas.
I saw it on the TV.
But anyway, yeah, that's cool. Here's one
Yes.
I know you guys will have more to say about.
He hasn't started? Huh? Whoa, hold on. Hey! Oh no! Oh, whoa! Would you... you're gonna make me cook?
Oh, he wasn't being assaulted at all. What game is this?
You have to do that, and they can't actually have the mouse cooking because you can't get Patton Oswalt's rights in here. It's for the Kingdom Hearts 3 minigame, right?
Yeah,
Isn't this
yeah.
the-
Well, so Remy is a rat.
It
First
sounded
off.
like Raz from Psychonauts went through puberty. I didn't realize that's
This is the one that features the rat from Ratatouille.
yeah. So
Nigel Osmond. Well, he doesn't talk to humans.
yeah, and
That's
nobody knows his
true.
name is Remy. They just call him Little Chef, as Scrooge does here.
The whole cake? It's for us? Huh?
Settle down. The chef wants you to know it's not a cake, but a tart of fruit.
He does?
Why keep it under my hat? May I introduce Little Chef?
Oh, it's you!
Uncle Scrooge, you open the bistro and try our chowder.
Aye.
I don't know why I find it so funny hearing Donald Duck saying, "You opened a bistro in Twilight."
Why do they make him say bistro? You know how hard that is for him?
That should be on that actor's list of words Donald won't say. Like, Donald would not say bistro.
Donald, he won't say sushi. He won't say bistro. Lots of spit involved.
I love that.
Won't say
that not only do they have Remy as the chef, but it's in a restaurant owned by Scrooge McDuck. That's just such the Kingdom Hearts, like, mwah.
Save some money and hire the rat.
God,
All
you're
I
better
have to
than
do
the
is
guy.
let his entire family live here.
It's a total right dune.
Scrooge McDuck it's cheaper to pay off the health inspector than to hire a kitchen staff.
Also, I'm frantically trying to find the information on this. This is one of the only time between Alan Young, who had been voicing Scrooge McDuck since 1974, and his death in the 2010, I think 2014, maybe 2015, at like 100, and there was and I'm just bringing that up because as you're officially listening to this, it's the last month of Christmas. The the Disney special Duck the Halls. That's the first time Scrooge appeared where it wasn't Alan Young. It is a great fucking Christmas special. You should totally try and find it on Disney Plus in that new Mickey style, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, hearing Scrooge not Alan Young is surprisingly jarring. And if you're watching DuckTales and not David Tennant is also jarring. And this is the poor guy in the middle they dangled the job in front of before they took it away.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's in that awkward phase where, like, if you're gonna do like a classic character like that, you kind of have to do your own thing with the voice.
Yeah,
because like
probably.
otherwise it can just sound like a really poor impersonation. You know?
Yeah, or you're just sounding like a Simpsons character voicing a Disney character. I'm not calling out Tress McNeil.
But so Kingdom Hearts 3, this cooking minigame is probably the closest that U.S. players can get to Ryuga Gotoku Ishin's cooking minigame because, again, it is you select a dish and then you go through a series of very short minigames where you have to cook it, for example, grinding pepper into the dish. Which, of course, involves juggling it from hand to hand.
All right!
You know,
We did it!
when you use a pepper mill, you grind it exactly once. You flip it like cocktail style to your other hand, grind it once again, and you keep doing that over and over again until you drop it into the food and ruin everything.
Yeah.
And you also...
A Disney fan's dream. Wall-to-wall assholes. That is a Cocktail the Movie reference for you folks out there.
Yes.
Yeah. Those minigames are stressful, by the way, because they don't like give you a tutorial before you do them, and sometimes you're like trying to cook a thing for the first time, and you can easily fuck up the dish and not get what you're
Kingdom Hearts in a
going for.
nutshell. Here's a shitty game you didn't pay for this for.
Yeah, you might inadvertently crush an egg with your giant Sora strength within seconds of starting the minigame.
Yeah. Oops. Oh. Sorry.
He apologizes to the rat on his
Did Sora
head.
just prematurely ejaculate?
Yes. It is a potent metaphor.
Oops. Sorry.
He has disappointed Remy, his lover.
Hey, it's legal. Like, Haley Joel Osment's what, like 40 now? So that's a
Roughly
legal
that,
joke.
yeah.
I can tell that joke.
Oh. Wait. Where are we getting... Matt may know this, and I'm sorry. It's still about Remy, though. But Disney park nonsense.
Remy?
I think Euro Disney has like a giant Remy ride. Go figure.
Yeah.
And I believe it's coming to Epcot at least. But like, it's supposedly pretty fucking awesome. And then they just... You know, the food's not my favorite part of Disney park. It's for the really rich folks. I'd rather focus on the booze.
Yeah, they just give Epcot like fucking, oh, here's your the World Festival of Food. And you're like, come on, I want a ride. Give me a fucking ride. At least the Mexican restaurant there has
your $100 ticket
boats.
doesn't cover any of the experiences in this park. So
doesn't the Mexican restaurant have like a Small World-esque boat ride through it?
Yes.
Like a flume
yeah,
ride?
with the 3 caballeros now. Yeah.
Nice.
And the inside of the ziggurat is all cocoa.
Just want to point out,
stuff
Three
now.
Caballeros did not take place in Mexico for the most part, but okay, fine.
It was about getting all of South America to
Mexico's
contribute
in
to their
North America.
the fleshy soldiers to join the war effort.
Yes, it was propaganda, but it was entertaining propaganda.
3 caballeros, you must fight, help us fight Hitler. And sorry.
Wow.
We made a whole cartoon and showed it to the world, inviting you to please throw some bodies at this Hitler guy.
Wow.
And they did.
That's what that was about? I had
Yes,
no
that's
idea.
exactly what it was. It was like spearheaded by the fucking government. Watch the documentary El Guapo and Walt.
I thought it was about, hey, Americans, appreciate Brazil. It exists.
It was.
It was
But,
like
we had
a
other
tourism
motives to
travel
do
thing
that.
as well. Yeah, there was some like government relations business going on. They were trying to improve
for the
relations.
war effort.
All right.
Yep.
Well, let's bring this to a close with...
At sundown, you and your party gather around the campfire. Eat well, for you will need to be prepared for the day ahead.
This entire game is narrated by a very posh man. What is this?
It's a game I haven't played, but I know what it is. It's Dragon's Crown.
Yes, Dragon's Crown.
Oh, fuck. You said mini game, so it couldn't have been Battle Chef Brigade. I was just assuming that was going to be number one, because that is all the game.
Yeah.
And
Although, yeah, Battle Chef is also like, it's like a platformer, right? You're hunting down the monsters.
It's Puzzle Quest with
okay.
food.
Yeah. But Dragon's Crown, waits a while to spring this one on you. So this is one, like, I hadn't really played it much either. And then I played it a bunch for this. And it's like, oh, this is like the Dungeons & Dragons arcade game, but much more complex. Like, it's very much an RPG that plays like a belt-scrolling beat-em-up.
It's pretty awesome, and I don't think people should sleep on it. It feels like one of those things that might not be available forever.
Yeah, it's
Maybe.
it's on PS4 still. $20
awesome.
You get Pro, Dragon's Crown Pro.
Dragon's Crown Pro, which adds like touchpad controls. Like you can there's controls in that game that are like a mouse cursor basically. Originally you just used the right analog stick. Now it's also the touchpad, but you basically just like move a little pointer around on screen and you tap on things that you want, for instance, your thief partner to focus on, like, hey, go unlock this door. Hey, go open this chest. Stuff like that. Or if you've got AI companions, you click on a crossbow and like, hey, go pick up this crossbow and use it. Stuff like that. But, yeah.
It was like Super Vita optimized when it came out.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would have been for that,
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So after certain stages, Like, normally after a stage, you will just go right back to town and you resupply and you can, figure out what your gear is, etc. But there are some stages where instead you make camp and then you keep going into the next stage. And when you make camp, there's a little mini game where you are looking at this amazing spread of hand-drawn food, and you just start grabbing stuff and throwing it into, like, pans and pots, and, like, adding salt or spices, whatever, to improve this stuff, and, you refill your health, get buffs, and it is just kind of arresting to watch. Yeah, just grab, like, lobster, handfuls of clams, huge salmon steak, throw them on it just to boil, and you get to stir, you get to serve yourself. And so basically you have 99 seconds to cook and eat as much food as possible.
I haven't heard a handful of clam heard to describe anybody but our previous president.
You grab him by the clams.
Drop the dishes, crack the plates.
I'm a Flintstones
That's
fan.
what
I meant
Bilbo
money.
Baggins hates. Sorry, you got me on that fucking movie, the Hobbit movie.
I did nothing to prompt that.
Chris did. He's singing. Okay. He was singing The Greatest Adventure in the background because of that flute music.
Oh, I see.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a man of very limited pop culture references.
I mean, that's limited. That's like late 70s. That's a good
Stick
pull.
with me, though. I'll grow. I promise, listeners. Patreon.com/lasertime. I'll reference whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Just do your growing somewhere else, all right, pal? No, this is Vanillaware, which is why it shouldn't surprise us that it's like side-scrolling but also RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's sort of their deal. They're like, hey, we're gonna do like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, but also have RPG stuff. We're like, hey, Odin Sphere, like it's just gonna be almost like a turn-based thing with really cool combat. And or what's the new one? 13 Sentinels.
Yeah,
is that, but then becomes a top-down kind of an RTS might be turn-based tactical.
Yeah. No, Odin Sphere is more like, what if Devil May Cry was a purely side-scrolling platformer?
Yeah, okay.
Like that's how Odin Sphere feels. This is more like, traditional beat 'em up, but with like all these cool RPG elements and branching paths and stuff like that, and a really cool cooking mini game that is surprisingly fun to watch. Just like puts a lot of attention to detail into the various ingredients, and it looks delicious. I want to eat this food for real, but it doesn't exist. It's just paintings.
Oh, that's not the criticism I remember about the game.
Yeah, well, it is also like, man, the two female, or I guess there's 3 female characters in this, and 2 of them are just like there's the sorceress who has like the gigantic rack, and when she runs, it's like
lamb.
It's like she bends backwards, like as if trying to keep her giant floppy hat on, but like she just pushes her chest out front and her boobs just like bounce up and down. Like, wow, okay.
You can't say she has a giant rack and then say she has giant flappy in like the next sentence. You can't do that, dude.
I was getting to the actual flappiness of the boobs.
Oh, no.
But you were laughing too much and trying to interrupt me.
I'm not mature.
And now you've missed the absolute conversational gold that I had waiting for you.
Well, it's if I'm being nostalgic,
the game's really horny, is what I'm saying.
It's for a time of being like unaware of misogynistic shit in games, and I remember this sort of being like, a bunch of people like critical of some of the art choices, and at the time I was like, what, really? This is how all games look. But I also didn't say, should I write this person a death threat or keep my mystification to myself?
Hey.
And then just sit back and watch and learn. That's what I remember about this period. It's like, this game looks really cool. Why are you being shitting all over it? Oh, because the anime titties. Right.
Yeah.
Well, one of these things, part of the gameplay I care about, and that's one of the things I don't. But yeah, I remember. But yeah, pre Goober Grape, that kind of
yeah.
shit.
But this was sort of like it was a watershed moment for like, oh yeah, games are kind of sexist, huh?
Yeah,
what do we do about
that? Huh. Oh, they've been gendered this whole time. Oh, the toy aisle. That's right. Even Amazon put them in the toy aisle.
I remember I thought Penny Arcade made a pretty good point. Like, oh man, Dragon's Crown looks so cool. I'm so pumped to play as this fighter. But maybe I wouldn't if he looked like this. And they just like drew the fighter with like minimal clothing and like huge balls that were just like bulging out of his loincloth.
We all know few things females find sexier than gigantic balls.
Love giant balls.
Gargantuan gonads.
2010 this week, and you'll hear what my two lady co-hosts hear about seeing Michael Fassbender's dick so frequently. And,
but what about his balls, Chris? What about his balls?
The dude has a really nice set, by the way. And like I criticize the way Dr. Manhattan's dick flowed in a breeze, but that's maybe because I'm not swinging that much real estate. But Fassbender is, so physics on his cock work way different in this film. So it's
I kind of feel like if he didn't have a nice set, you wouldn't see it so much on film.
Yeah,
right? Like you kind of gotta have
everything
that
about that
in.
dude. Even I sort of wanted to like eat some McNuggets off his ass or something. Nothing too romantic. Right. I don't want to sound homosexual.
And let's be honest, there's very little, if any, bend to Fassbender. Am I right? If you know.
Yeah, I've tried to make a billion jokes about that, and I just can't anymore. Like, there's no good thing to describe a cock with fast and bending. It just can't work, man. I recommend you don't do it. I
mean,
stayed
I might have
up
pulled
the other night.
I know. I might have pulled something doing that one. I don't know.
It's
it was premature of me. You're right.
It's the unlockable character in the Breakfast Club game, Fassbender. Sorry, never mind. That was as good as it got, and I couldn't use it.
I heard you taped his Fassbenders together. I don't know.
That's two, Chris. You got two.
Okay.
I'm doing the fingers that the principal does, the counting up. Fucking weird four he does. He does a weird four with his thumb. I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You get the horn.
If we're talking about fucking Breakfast Club, it's probably time to bring this to a close. But Dragon's Crown is
you could cook breakfast in Dragon's Crown.
Is a really fun game if you could get past the frankly weird depictions of women in it. But I'll let the announcer count us out here.
After your meal, you lay down to rest. Another dangerous mission awaits you tomorrow.
Oh, and we're going to lay down to rest after that and take a short break. Ooh. But when we come back, we're going to talk about some new releases, ? And some news and some other stuff, so stay tuned.
I pile on the candy. It's such a pretty sight. It makes the food taste dandy, but my tummy hurts all night.
I'll put in some ingredients, but keep the rest for me. I'm not just disobedient. I'm careful, can't you see? It's a piece of cake to bake a pretty cake. If the way is hazy, you gotta do the cooking by the book. You know you can't be lazy.
Let's get scratching.
Do you like Video Game Apocalypse in 30-2010? Well, the LaserTime Patreon has figured out a way to combine the two. Over at patreon.com/LaserTime, we've taken a month's worth of 30-2010's games from 30, 20, and 10 years ago and grabbed the hosts,
Michael Raparez and Matthew Allen,
from Video Game Apocalypse. And with our combined 3 decades plus in the games industry, we found a great way to take a deep dive into the biggest gaming anniversaries of the month. Here's a recent sample. And then my absolute favorite thing I'd never heard of until Michael put it in this doc. The Flintstones, Burger Time, and Bedrock. I wanted to find more trademark screens, but this is very much the arcade classic Burger Time.
Yep.
Done with me, your pal Fred. And he beats up like the Great Gazoo as if he's an enemy. But it is like a much slower Burger Time with a story. You know what they don't have, what they didn't shell out for? The Flintstones theme. But the Flintstones theme they came up with for Flintstones Burger Time and Bedrock is one of the most sublime and melancholy things I've ever heard.
Oh, God.
This is sadder. Like if Wilma leaves Fred, this is what he's driving through with them in the middle of the movie. He's driving through the rain.
Flintstones meet the Flintstones.
That is like.
Am I really not attentive enough for Wilma? I'm too old to move on. So, in addition to weekly bonus shows, over 100 movie commentaries, exclusive specials, you can get the 30-2010 Video Games Edition, celebrating a month of important gaming milestones every single month at patreon.com/lasertime in exchange for just $5. And you'll support all of the LaserTime shows, including Video Game Apocalypse, right guys?
Yay! And welcome back to our final segment where we're going to break into what I'm sure is going to be a very, very, very short segment that we call... I'm willing to bet my lead-in is longer than the segment itself.
No, I got some you didn't remember.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's that?
I want to hear yours first. We'll compare whose is bigger at the end of the show.
I don't think any of us went back to Sinnoh this week.
Huh?
No. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
We were kind of counting on our guests to do that for us, but
yes. So maybe stay tuned future week. Someone will have an opinion. It's a remake anyway, right? It's not a brand new Pokemon title, but everything I've seen, it's a fine remake of those. Although those games, I think, are slightly polarizing, or they're just considered like old now because Pokemon has. It's hard to say this out loud and not laugh, but Pokemon has progressed and introduced new systems that make this feel old.
Pokemon has changed.
That game has not changed since Red and Blue, in my mind at least, but I guess it has to those folks. So. I don't know. Someone's going to correct me in the comments, which is fine. And then, maybe someone will correct me next week.
TL was supposed to help us through this, but he had a
Here's what I know Chris will have something to say about. It's not a new title. It's new to PlayStation owners. They finally got Death's Door came to PlayStation.
I don't know that I'll be able to get it through, but it is my game, maybe my top game of the year.
Wow.
A Souls-ish game. If Link to the Past was a Souls-ish game.
Right. Yeah, Souls meets Zelda.
It's awesome. It is the best indie I played this year. It is the only thing that sucked me in, and I could not stop playing. I love games that force me to solve puzzles I was miles away from seeing an hour ago, but were right in front of my nose. Mm-hmm. I even had to use a guide one time because some of this stuff is so subtle, and unlocking this world is so subtle. But a top-down, isometric, Souls-ish game starring a penguin-looking motherfucker and a bunch of Ghibli-esque horrific characters. It is charming. It is delicious. It is wonderful. It has great ambiance and wonderful, wonderful combat.
Yeah,
and progression. So it is my game of the year, and I don't know what the deal was because it was one of those games that hit Xbox and nothing else, but wasn't on Game Pass, which isn't typically how that works.
That's so weird to see nowadays, just an exclusivity deal without Game Pass. You're like, huh?
I mean, it was on PC too, for what that's worth.
Right? Yeah.
You know what I meant.
Yeah, sure.
I play things on my back with a controller.
All right.
PC gamers don't want to hear it.
So yeah, I mean, come on, it's Thanksgiving week. Not a lot of game companies want to throw new stuff out there.
No.
They kind of.
Why would you want your game to come out on Black Friday, the biggest shopping day of the year?
I know what games did come out on Black Friday.
Oh yeah,
and a couple of them have never been released on much of anything before, because I'm not going to talk about this too long. Arcade 1-Up has released 2 new machines in this time frame. It's hard to say when the release dates are. I like talking about this stuff. Matt is literally yawning, and I understand that.
Arcade 1-Up.
But because we're in Joe Biden's America, Arcade 1-Up cabinets have gone up $200 a piece and been well, fuck
this.
It's
the chip shortage, right? I'm assuming it's the...
What chip shortage? You can play these things off of a balloon at this point. Some of these games are so fucking old, they're less than a kilobyte. You can probably transfer.
It'd be squeaky inside that cabinet. You don't want that balloon-powered game.
Yeah, it's shocking setting up one of these cabinets. The game is credit card sized and attached to the back of the monitor, and everything else is hollow.
Yeah, the board. Even old arcade machines were like a CRT floating in space with wires connected to a motherboard. Inside plywood.
I was lucky enough to score one arcade cabinet during this pandemic. And no, it's shocking how big Joust is on the inside.
Oh, really? Yeah, I guess the older ones would have more machinery.
It's insane how much to run fucking Joust.
Right.
Again, I'm pretty sure I could play Joust on a toothbrush.
Actual switches, like the old, like the literal definition of a bug because it flew into the machine.
But Simpsons came out, and that has typically been one of my, like, oh, I want that so bad, because I've had access to buying a Simpsons machine for years, including Dave and I, and we thought about it before I left San Francisco, like, our friend's selling one for $600. How much can you play this game? I still have it on Xbox, even though it's delisted. I love this game. Cabinet's cool, but $600. That shit is skyrocketed to like $1,500 to $3,000 as
for the full size.
Yeah, for like for an old one, regular size. Everything during the pandemic shot up. And I almost wish I would have bought it and found a way to get it back from California at the prices they are now. So it's nice to have the Arcade 1-Up one. I just don't love the art. I don't love fake coin doors. That was something their audience was demanding. Like, I covered this up with custom decals anyway. I don't give a fuck about fake coin. I like a real coin door. That's nice.
Yeah,
but a
like
picture of a coin door?
That'd be neat. Yeah.
And it adds Simpsons Bowling, which I've never played, but that is available for the first time in history, I believe.
What about wrestling? Got
I don't think that wasn't. These are both Konami games.
I know,
but developed 10 years apart. But the arcade one, to me, I don't give it. I hate hearing that's actually one of the lesser beat 'em ups, and it's like, if it was legal to murder you before that sentence ended, I would. No beat 'em ups are intricate or great. Shut the fuck up. This is like one of the best beat 'em ups of all time.
Traditional beat 'em ups were very much about your attachment to those characters.
Yeah, there's like two beat 'em ups I would say, like, this is a legitimately awesome game. The rest of it's your nostalgia and what you like to play. And I like to play The Simpsons.
If you want the innovative kind back then, go play those Dungeons and Dragons beat 'em ups. They're like
fantastic.
RPG systems.
Or go play Dragon's Crown, which is like an evolved version of that with huge breasts and a weird angular ass.
Making a 4-player game and then making it small has led to like some joystick issues where, like, oh, if I want to move the joystick right or left, I have to move my palm because this has been made small. It doesn't actually, it's not very ergonomic.
That sounds awful.
The Ninja Turtles game doesn't do that. Like, but
I mean, in a pandemic, standing that close to any 3 people, no thanks.
What I thought was really funny, because I'm in a bunch of modding communities for this kind of stuff, they also stealthily released the Tron machine with the glowing blue joystick. And if you're a little older than me, you might have more nostalgia for that.
Yeah.
And I never heard people be so frank, and they were like, fuck, which one should I get? This one or the Joust? He's like, the Tron one is like a beautiful machine that I want in my house. Those games are the worst. And like the rest of the posts were like, these games are not good.
It was the original minigame collection, more or
Yeah,
less.
it was.
Yeah.
The charm of that machine was how the machine looked, but you got to have the home set up to match. Like, it needs to be in black light, because you fucking put a Tron machine in full light, doesn't do the trick.
Nope.
Yeah, but again, like the machine looks gorgeous, and the stick itself, they're like, don't they make consumer Tron sticks? I'm like, well, this one glows and has extra buttons in it, so you can play all, like, the 2 Tron games that were available in arcades. I forget.
Yeah, I think there were 2.
Discs of Tron was
Disc
the other
of
one. There
Tron.
might have been a third one.
But I think only 2 in arcades. But yeah, they're all there, and those haven't been available commercially, like, I think anywhere.
Yeah, I think Tron Pinball might have been the third one. It was like a virtual pinball machine that actually had, like, you can feel the ball rolling around, even though you're just seeing like a digital image on a screen.
Strange affection for virtual pinball. Shout out to Star Wars Virtual Pinball. That shit is great. But yeah, that's it. Those finally at least started shipping this week, and I recommend, if you want the Simpsons one, Walmart for some reason has it for $529 instead of $700. Again, I've never paid more than $5,200 for one of these things. I will never buy this.
I mean,
in the words of Borat, you will never get this. I will not. I will not get this.
Speaking of things that have been made weirdly expensive by the chip shortage, so I don't know if you guys know this, the Intel 12th generation chips came out like a few weeks ago.
They did.
Intel i7 12700K, whatever, the new line of PC chips, and they are readily available. What is not readily available is, so they introduce like a whole new generation of motherboards that use DDR5 RAM.
Yeah.
Which is not only very expensive, but is in extremely short supply and has gotten to the point where it sells out in like 2 minutes whenever anyone has it in stock. And there's a huge shortage because like there is like the new power control chip that they're made with is like, it's in very, very short supply. And so they're like saying like, yeah, it's going to take like 35, there's like a 35-week turnaround on these now.
What the fuck?
So there's probably just going to be like a trickling supply between now and like mid 2022. So
I'll say this, while everybody's distracted by Black Friday, I think it's time for another truck heist.
Yeah.
Listeners, I'll give you,
fam.
I only want 5% for the planning I just laid out for you, but yeah, I'd say go heist and then throw me whatever you think is fair. And you'll get your chips.
Yeah, you get
I'm gonna go find myself an Integra. You get a car. Let's do this, family.
Family.
And the longer you're in jail for stealing a piece of technology has to be like super embarrassing.
What a joke! Right? Yeah. What are you in for? VCR machines.
A guard got killed, and I was stealing Super FX chips for Star Fox 2. Never came out. But
I want to meet the guy who got busted, like offloading a truckload of Betamax machines. Like, what are you in for? Betamax. Like, just.
I stole an entire ship's worth of HD DVD Revenge of the Nerds. This movie will be timeless forever.
Well, let's see if there's anything about truck heists in.
News. It wouldn't be a holiday episode of EGA without not one but two special segments, the first of which is VGA Hollywood segment. So Tom Holland is going around saying that playing Nathan Drake in Uncharted, quote unquote, broke him. And to that I respond, Tom Holland, you playing Nathan Drake broke me as well, my friend.
You should have been Garfield, dog.
Like, did that movie come out, or is it still just? Like, I honestly don't know.
No, you just played Uncharted 3 10 years ago, and you don't need to see this on screen.
Yeah,
well, I wasn't sure if we just like seen a preview or like, wait, did it come out? I forget.
So he. At first I was like, wait, was it because of the troubled filming? You know, Uncharted's been in development hell.
I've been working on this for 10 years. I was a little boy when it started.
Apparently he's talking about, though, it's a physically exhausting movie where he, like, started to get tendinitis and, like, muscle sprains and
this
stuff
is coming
like that.
from Spider-Man.
I know, but Spider-Man is conveniently mostly voice acting for him.
That's true.
But I mentioned it, I think, on a bonus time, which I can't wait to get back in the swing of. Patreon.com/LaserTime. Avengers Endgame, they were speculating that, like, their stunt doubles were in about 75% of the movie, especially the masked characters who could get away with it even more.
Yep.
And that it's kind of, they're the real unsung heroes of these hero movies, these stunt doubles who are literally, you see them the most out of everybody.
Yeah, right. Should they start sharing the billing at some point,
or the salary, right? Or just actually no, pay the CG guys as much as you pay the face.
The hard on 30-20-10 has for stunt people, and just to spread this as far as we can get, while the Oscars is having to talk about ways to loop in people, like you don't have to nominate fucking the Joker for an Oscar every time. Why not have a stunt category? Because that is something that is literal movie magic that is going unrewarded.
Yeah, I remember the one time I filmed a feature film I was an extra in. It was a terrible movie. It was called First Daughter, with Katie Holmes playing the president's daughter. Go look it up. You might see me as a cameraman chasing her through, it's the town of Orange, California is where it was filmed.
What?
But the stunt man in that scene, so there was a scene where me and a bunch of guys were like paparazzi guys chasing her, the president's daughter around. And they had to run by this dude who was on roller skates. Typical movie bullshit. Dude on roller skates, people go near him, he almost falls.
And he drops like a tray of food for some reason.
But dude, to see the stuntman, we had to do that scene like 10 times, like running full speed, and to see him nail it every single time and not really even change up what he's doing of like, I'm going to almost fall this particular way. I'm like, that takes a level of physical skill that I will never attain in my life.
Yeah, but why not an Oscar, a non-honorary every year? If you want to bring people in to watch the Oscars and you're nominating movies that the majority of Americans aren't seeing, have a stunt category. Talk about that. I think that would be amazing, and those people deserve recognition completely. Movie magic being uncelebrated by the Oscars it seems silly when you think about it too long.
Check out this transition though. So I kind of feel like the character models in the Rockstar, the Grand Theft Auto Definitive Trilogy might as well have been the stunt doubles for the originals, the way they look. And Rockstar, they heard the people. They heard us. They heard the complaints. It was just us.
How could they not? We were so fucking loud.
So they did apologize for what is going on with the Definitive Edition trilogy. And they, as part of it, make good, in addition to just promising, we're going to fix all the bugs. We're sorry. A lot of that was that AI program that kind of was just like smoothing over assets, and they didn't have time to check it. But, one thing they did, that's kind of cool, they're relisting the original versions of those games on PC.
I think the PC players get them for free or something like that.
Maybe it's if you bought the trilogy on PC, they'll give you the originals for free.
I don't know, because like I'm out of the realm of purchasing these things for a while. I'm pretty okay with my Game Pass experience with San Andreas.
To be honest, I have San Andreas through the Rockstar's Club, the social club, and I went and downloaded that, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm going to try to play these side by side and see if I can, which one I really prefer to play. The one unanswered I have about all of these PC versions is, have they yanked the licensed music out of those, or is it
not all of them?
It's still in there because that was part of that original deal,
I imagine if they're on PC, they have removed. They can't sell versions with those songs or even give them away. I believe.
Right. Yeah.
So they will be updated. But
check that out.
I think the only bright side to this is, no matter what they pull, these are still multi-million selling PS2 games, and that market is not very big. Collectory yet. You can really get all those games on PS2 as they originally appeared, with the songs you like, the graphics you accepted, and and play them anytime you want.
Yeah. Well, what do you think the odds are that Claude from GTA 3, that was the guy's name, right? Claude.
Yeah.
He might appear in the new Warner Brothers Smash clone game, because that's real and that's happening.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
It's weird to me that, like, I don't think any other, like, large holder of a bunch of different IP has shown more of a willingness to have those properties cross over. Yes. And, like, that was the thing, like, we talked about for years, like, oh, what if, like, Batman showed up on, this show or whatever. Like, I think we all thought that was going to be cool, and then Warner Brothers started doing it, and it's like, oh, it's actually kind of not cool. It kind of, this kind of sucks.
Well, it's like it gets less cool the more you do it.
Yeah. And when you do it for something like Space Jam and it feels completely soulless, then...
I was actually talking about somebody with someone in like the attendant in Target about this. Remember the Patton Oswalt improvised segment about Parks and Rec, and then Luke Skywalker grabs the Infinity Gauntlet and that's before they bought them all. Like they can just do that now.
That could happen.
It's not only could it happen, I give it inside the decade. Like Star Wars and Marvel out of some kind of desperation or
and the Muppets are there.
They're fighting with 80s robots.
But not Mickey Mouse, he's too important.
The Muppet Haunted Mansion crossover was pretty good on Disney Plus, I gotta say.
It's really good. I also predict the next 10 years Disney will sell the Muppets back to the Hensons.
Ah, man, I think I would prefer that.
They honestly have not made any more content than the Hensons did owning those characters, so just give them back.
Yeah.
Give them back.
So this game has kind of a clever name. It's called Multiverses. Aha!
Oh, this is officially announced. That's right.
And already it's got an edge on the Nickelodeon game because it's got a bunch of voice actors.
Well, the other edge, it's free to play. It's going to be a free to play.
Seriously?
Yeah. So meaning that
I did hear that. And that's the only part that, like, Oh no, that sucks.
Yeah, that just means we'll have to buy the individual.
I mean, you're gonna have to buy character packs,
Yeah.
but they got my Batman, Kevin Conroy as Batman. Superman, voiced by George Newbern. Wonder Woman by Abby Trott. Harley Quinn by Tara Strong. Shaggy by Matthew Lillard from the live action Scooby movie.
That is so unnecessary, and I just can't. We might live in a world where Matthew Lillard is cheaper than whoever the stock Shaggy voice actor is, because I would prefer the guy voicing Shaggy in the cartoon.
Can someone make Shaggy say the line? Like, I'll be right back. Yoinks.
Yoinks.
Little Scream crossover. So yeah, they got Shaggy, Bugs, Arya Stark. All the memes from this are Arya versus Batman.
And actual Maisie Williams.
That's the crazy outlier, though, because Space Jam sort of showed it off that, Warner Brothers, unlike other studio crossovers, aren't really afraid to let R-rated properties intermingle with these G-rated characters, because Space Jam was riddled with Game of Thrones and The Matrix.
Yeah, and then they have some Cartoon Network stuff in here too. They got Finn from Adventure Time. They got the Steven Universe folks. You got Steven and Garnet, Tom and Jerry, and Rain Dog. Don't forget Rain Dog, the original character.
If Tom and Jerry don't have their original voice actors, GTFO.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a great, terrible joke, by the way, because their original voice actors, by the way, are not only long dead because they were stock screams, they don't have them.
Yeah.
And except in the Tom and Jerry movie, where they decided to make them talk, and that movie is hysterically bad. I know, I'm just explaining it to the children out there.
So what I'm curious about is, now I've seen stuff where people were saying oh man, look at this cool crossover, and I think it was Lego Dimensions. And they had Homer talking to Scooby-Doo, and he's like, a talking dog! And oh, they actually got Dan Castellaneta to record a new line, and then somebody said nope, that's from the show. Here's the clip that it came from. So my question is, when they list these actors, are they actually paying them to record new lines, or are they just going back to the hundreds of episodes of stuff that they have done and pulling voice lines?
I think because Lego Dimensions was licensing characters. It was published by WB Interactive, but it had some Universal characters, some video game characters that are not owned by WB. There's a lot of licenses involved. Whereas everything right now is lock stock owned by WB. Those people are under contract to be those characters, whether a video game exists or not.
Yeah.
And having worked on a Disney game, I was pretty shocked by how it's not as expensive as you think to get a voice actor who is tied to this character, because some of these people, that's their job. They're not millionaires, but they are paid think about someone being paid $70,000 a year to record a couple lines of dialogue throughout the year. It's not bad. They don't complain about it. And, but if you watch the trailer, they're saying things that don't really exist in the show. They're yelling out their moves and they're yelling what's happening to them. So I'm pretty sure they're re-recording.
Yeah.
And most of the people, other than Matthew Lillard, are paid voice actors. That's their job.
That's true.
I kind of feel like Matthew Lillard is also a paid voice actor at this point.
All right.
So.
Was it? I'm just remembering. I think there was a video, you might have shown it to me, Chris, with Ian McKellen talking about how he used to love doing video games because it'd be another paycheck on top of what he'd already made from the movie. But it's now it's just built into your contract for the movie. Oh, you have to do it. You signed the contract. You were already paid. And
it was the reverse. It was the he said. Voice acting in video games sucked in that I have to read everything from every different emotion if my character's running or not. This way, Legolas! This way, Legolas! This way, Legolas! He's but I got paid more to make the Lord of the Rings games than I did for the Lord of the Rings movies. And then he said, but then with The Hobbit, they're just it's in your contract. And he's well, not mine.
Because WB both owns the movie studio and the game studio. So
this is part of your promotion for the movie. We're not going to pay you any extra. And he's well, I'm not doing that. Hire a sound-alike. I didn't like it the first time. And if you're not paying me extra, GTFO. Ian McKellen uses that word all the time.
I bet he does.
Speaking of paying extra, turns out maybe Square didn't want to pay extra for the Spidey stuff. Because contrary to a news story we had a few months ago where one of the game's designers was saying, no, Spidey will have full story missions in Marvel's The Avengers. I called it, y'all. I said, nope, watch. When he comes in, it's just going to be the character and there's going to be a bunch of shit around him with the story. And turns out that's exactly what it is. So rather than so like Marvel's The Avengers gets a lot of shit, but honestly those DLC campaigns have been really fun. Like the Black Panther one, totally worth playing through. Spidey's not getting that. He ain't getting that. The really? Spider-Man with Great Power story is going to be told through audio logs and illustrated cutscenes. Unlocked by completing challenges added to the Avengers Initiative multiplayer mission.
Oh, so it's not even a campaign anymore?
It's not a campaign. No cutscenes like that. It's like unlockable story around just the core, the part of Marvel's The Avengers I don't like, which is just like, oh, play the same missions over and over again in the Avengers Initiative. Neat. You know, it's... Yeah, so bit of a bummer, but at the same time, totally understandable. Like, that is a platform exclusive character that only one part of your audience is going to ever see. So, anyway, at least, you know, that game is on Game Pass on Xbox. And speaking of Xbox,
you can't play a Spider-Man.
It is time to visit the Xbox Museum online. What a cool little thing Microsoft launched in celebration of the 20th anniversary of Xbox. It's a website that basically is like, it's a metaverse thing, I guess you could say, but it takes you through the history of Xbox where you can start with the OG Xbox, and it's like you walk around this virtual world and they have like props of like major Xbox things, like, oh, there's the first Avatar, oh, like there's the Warthog from Halo.
Fusion Frenzy!
But then it's so funny because it's so like metaverse bullshit. You walk up to this floating screen and in this very specific circle, and then you can it lets you hit a button to watch the movie about this thing. But because everyone has to go to the same circle, you just like walk in and you're like stacked on top of 100 other avatars who also happen to be watching this same as Blackley from Xbox, like a movie about. Yeah, so it's a really cool website
Samus
and
Blackley.
Experience. Indeed, Samus Dread. But no, it's cool to see this history, and it's a really cool site. And then there's also this thing, you know, if you log in, it kind of tells you your stats, which I sent you guys, and it's just like most played game, Destiny, and I'm like, yeah, that checks out, or it's just
that's not fair. That's not
but
fair
when
at
you
all.
go in there, it's like here's one of the first games you played, and I'm like, I wonder if it says one of because they couldn't like get rights to maybe my actual first game I played, which probably was terrible or something. But yeah, it's a real neat journey. It's like through your Xbox career if you've been playing those systems for 20 years. So. But it does contain a juicy tidbit that I think, Michael, you heard about this. In the Xbox documentation section, there's buried sort of a letter. It's just a picture. There's no movie about it. It's just a picture. But it's a letter that Microsoft was trying to buy Nintendo, which had always been rumored. And it's a letter between the executives. Here's the text of the letter. Dear Jackalee, I appreciate you taking the time to try to arrange a meeting with Mr. Takeda and Mr. Yamauchi, so Yamauchi-san himself, to discuss a possible strategic partnership between Nintendo and Microsoft on future video game platforms. I understand Mr. Takeda's concerns about the possible partnership and will try to, and then they kind of have an image over the text.
Blocking some
it says the guidelines
there
that he has requested. So like Nintendo was willing to talk to Microsoft. They just kind of had some guidelines up front, you know.
I think they had to, and then remember they were neighbors at the time too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was also probably like, yeah, you got to pay off this Yakuza guy, and then you could talk to us.
I don't know about that. It was just if I was at Nintendo and pretend I'm saying this in Japanese, these bitches need us way more than we need them.
See, if I was at Nintendo and I walked into that conference room with the Microsoft people, I would just say, bitches leave.
Yeah, Nintendo wasn't even in a position to need their bailout.
Yeah.
It was just like one Nintendo, like the Nintendo 64 wasn't stellar, but like it made money. Like we're not ready to like give up on consoles. We're not Dreamcasting here.
Oh man.
Man, I love the Dreamcast.
Yeah, Microsoft should have reached out to Sega, and they probably did. Because
I thought they did.
Well, yeah, for like the early days of the Xbox, like after the Dreamcast went under, like Sega basically was treating the Xbox as like this is the next.
It was
Dreamcast.
I thought they had exclusivity deals with them, where like they paid
did.
Sega.
They had only on Xbox for like sequels to Panzer Dragoon and Crazy Taxi, and fuck you, yes, that meant something to me. They released ports on all the other systems.
Jet Set Radio, House of the Dead 3,
Sega Rally, like those all went exclusively to Xbox, whereas GameCube and PS2 got Crazy Taxi and Sonic repackagings.
part of the fun of this celebration, though, is Microsoft is celebrating that era and being like, hey, it's one of the best gaming years ever. And they're like on Microsoft socials, they're posting pictures of the PS2, the Dreamcast, the GameCube, and the OG Xbox. And it's like, yeah, fuck, that was a good time. That was a great time.
I remain shocked to this day Microsoft doesn't own Sega. It always seemed like a much more perfect partnership.
Instead, we have Sega Atlas, right? The big powerhouse partnership there. But
and Creative Assembly for PC and shit. Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, so visit that site. Check out the Nintendo letter. Microsoft didn't buy Nintendo, but Epic did buy Harmonix, makers of Rock Band.
It's like, I'm not one to celebrate corporate monstrous swallowing.
Sure, yeah.
But I don't know how to feel about this, because like I felt like Harmonix has been kind of one of my favorite game developers and made a ton of my games that I have put dozens, if not hundreds of hours into, but they've always feel like they've been struggling or playing a really difficult game. They're mostly working in a very expensive licensing racket.
Yeah.
And sort of wish they went first party, and this, I guess, is something like that, but like, just because you don't know what they're going to do. And like, I also want to just lament, I had a hankering recently to play Rock Band 4. But when I moved, I had to sell all my instruments. Gave them to Goodwill. You're not getting, you weren't, and I just now started going into thrift stores and not seeing those guitars anymore. You can't get those fucking, you can't get those fucking guitars anymore. And Harmonix is still making money on Rock Band 4 DLC.
But they don't make the instruments anymore, so it's good.
I know, that's so weird.
All that you can get is what's out there. Or I'm sure there's some aftermarket folks making like custom guitars.
Yeah, there's gotta be, right? I mean, there's aftermarket people making Tron sticks. Why not guitars?
I feel better about this acquisition than I did last time Harmonix got bought. Because remember, there was like MTV Games and EA had the whole Harmonix partnership.
I don't remember
thing,
what exactly
and
that
Harmonix
looked
kind
like.
of, ended up on their own and yeah, having some lean years for Harmonix, and I of course have history working on the Guitar Hero franchise back in the day, and like they were, the big competitor, and to see them kind of go into those hard times. This to me is like, I mean, Epic bought Psyonix. They've kind of left them alone and to do their own thing, right? And I kind of feel like that's what they'll do with Harmonix as well.
Yeah, it was just the press release that was worded weirdly. Like, they'll be making something for Fortnite, which is already bringing you musical experiences. And like, well, what the fuck does that mean?
That makes sense to me. Well, yeah, because those music experiences right now are not really interactive. It's like go to a concert. If they can throw in some interactive, like you play some music, that's way better. So.
Harmonix is alive, and that is worth celebrating, because the product they put out now is something I think, oh, that sounds really cool. I'm not playing Fuse.
A Fuser, like I was just trying to remember, like, why do I have that on Epic Game Store? Was it like a special exclusivity deal or something? Like, no, I don't think so. I think it was just on sale at one point, and I bought it. That is a game that I spent hours playing, just like, yeah, I don't care about the progress. Turn all that off. I just want to like find out what happens when I mix every song with Jolene.
That game feels good, and that is what I think.
Somebody once told me like this.
That's going to be what the Fortnite thing is. It's going to be much more like Fuser, where it's going to be like, yeah, here's some tracks and play around with these.
Put a dubstep gun into Fortnite.
Well, Mark Zuckerberg is already touting, like, you could be at a concert with your friends and other things AI have told me
Mr. Meta.
like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was talking to a girl, like, that could be really cool. I'm like, trust me, I've been in a bunch of virtual worlds. This will never be cool. You'll be like, why is it taking so long to get to the concert? Why do I have to walk to it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, though, I figured out Epic's strategy. So, guys, here's what we have to do. We need to find another game developer named Ick or Ix at the end of their name, because check it out. The Epic acquisitions have been Psyonix, Mediatronic, and now Harmonix. So following that logic, find something with Onic at the end. That's going to be the next acquisition.
Ich bin ein Sonic the Hedgehog.
Technotronic. Got it.
You heard it here first. They're going to buy Sega. Epic will buy Sega. They'll buy Sonic. There it is.
I remain shocked no one's bought Sega. It's got to be the flux of Sonic merchandise. If you haven't been to a retail store a while, and I can understand why you haven't. The kids section, forget where I was today. Like, it was like Journey's Kids. I'm like, that is the coolest fucking Sonic shirt I've ever seen. How come I can't fit in it? It was awesome. It was awesome.
Well, I don't think our fans can buy Sega, although maybe can buy Sega stock. But what they can buy, they can hear all about in this special edition of Game Deals!
Take my advice, do as I say, save a little money for a rainy day.
What are you buying?
As we like to do around Black Friday, we like to tell you, we kind of have gotten away from this being a regular segment, but this is the time of year where you're going to save. You're going to get the best deals in games. So, I don't know. I browsed around and I rounded up some of my favorite deals. Would you guys care to hear them?
The best deal in town is still, for the third week straight, Activision stock. It's super cheap. Get it at a steal.
Yeah, but no. Let's see. On the platform side, typical kind of end of year holiday sales, you can get PS Plus for $40, which I accidentally bought this year. It was in my cart and I forgot, and I went to check out when I was buying something else. I'm good through 2026, y'all. So there's that.
Congrats.
But a little bit of a better deal. You can get 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate at Target, digital code, for $25. So that is $20 off the retail of getting that, because it's $15 normally per month. So that's a good deal.
I hate to sound shilly, but I said that to you guys today. I was struggling to find the third game in my buy two get one free sale because Game Pass has been so fucking good to me. There is no better game deal than that. I picked up Outriders, Back for Blood, like those are all currently $60 fucking games I got for zero money.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, that's like basically, that's free $20 because I'm going to spend that $15 per month anyway. So getting 3 months for $25 instead of $45.
And I've been playing Forza Horizon, the Halo multiplayer, and the single player's out when December. Holy shit. I hate being a Game Pass shill. I know it's not funny anymore, but it still is. That, what we just said, is the best deal that will ever happen to you. It seems unconscionable to someone who's been collecting game deals for 10 years.
Well, fret not, dear listeners. I did gather up some actual game deals. So check this out. I tried to just keep it on, this year's releases and stuff that I thought was actually a good deal. We're in this weird space where games are $70. So like the sale version is $50. And I'm like, there's some psychological barrier in my brain as a consumer. I'm like, $50 is not sale price for a game.
Right.
You got to come at least to 40. Give me at least 40.
It really hurts. And what also hurts, because I just started playing it, it seems like some bitter, angry, mean contest to see who can discount Deathloop the lowest. It's one of the highest rated games of the year, period. And I saw it as low as $25
$25
today.
is the lowest I've seen it. You can also get, some places have Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy for $25, but most places have it for $30.
I believe Walmart will have it for $30 or $35 on Black Friday.
Far Cry 6 I've seen out there for $35 at a lot of places. Let's see. Riders Republic, that's Ubisoft's downhill racing extreme sports title, $25. You can get for $25.
Extreme.
So not like bad. Downhill racing is underselling it. Like it's a
huge
open world, like right around in recreations of multiple national parks.
You can get this year's Madden and other sports games for $35. So pretty decent savings there. This is the lowest I've seen. Returnal for $42 was the lowest. So again, that's one I think is normally $70, might be $60.
I know, but that's the one I want the most right now because we are entering our Game of the Year discussions.
Yep.
And a lot of the PS5 exclusives, this is a good time to grab them.
And then Lost Judgment, this year's Judgment game, $30. So that's basically half off. So
is that a good deal, Maddie?
Yeah. I mean, brand new, and Judgment games. I mean, dude. Just in terms of dollars per hour of entertainment, that's a 100-hour game at least, right? So for $30, that's a pretty decent value. Let's see. Walmart has Back for Blood. We were just talking Back for Blood, which is on Game Pass, but $25 is the cheapest. You're going to see that out there right now. So not a bad deal. Resident Evil Village, $20 at Walmart. So that includes PS5 version. So that is a stellar deal for I think it's safe to say, one of our games of the year.
Yep. I lost mine in the divorce, so I got to buy it again.
Tales of Arise is down to $40 already. I mean, that game's only like 2 months old or something. So, and I couldn't remember, was it this year? That Mass Effect Legendary Edition, you can now find out there for $25 in the wild. So that is, talk about value for your dollar. That's 3 Mass Effect games for $25. That's hundreds of hours.
That's kind of what I was waiting for, actually.
And then that Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl half off. You can find it for $20. It's normally $40. I would say.
It's a long story, but somebody I've had tough times with recently to apologize to me. She bought that for me at a Target, and I had to go pick it up. I'm like, what? You bought me Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl at $19.99 at Target. In-store pickup, all good.
The other one from Walmart I brushed over, Call of Duty. You can get Vanguard on sale, which is really rare. It's at $40. Normally, Call of Duty games do not go on sale their year of release.
I don't think it's selling very well.
I think you're right. And that's those deals kind of the same across PS5 and Xbox. Of course, your mileage may vary on the digital storefronts. Like they do have. You got to look at that. If you own both systems, even last gen, like look at both their stores because sometimes something will be cheaper on one than the other. So if you have both,
I was in a GameStop today, and that I assure you is very rare. And I was like, "What the fuck's going on? All your pre-owned games are the same price as your new games." And he's like, "We're having a ton of Black Friday sales, and we've had to reprice all of our used shit because our Black Friday sales are significant enough." And by that they mean not $5 that we have to price our pre-owned shit accordingly. Yeah. So the pre-owned stuff is the exact same price as new. I'm like, but why would I buy used if the new is the same price? And he's like, "Oh, there's a buy two get one free." I'm like, that is the only reason. That is the only reason to do that.
Yeah. Talking about rare deals, Nintendo actually this year
almost never
has a ton of discounts on Nintendo titles. So you can find Breath of the Wild out there for $35. I think I saw it for $25 at one site, but it's out there for $35. What's rare is a lot of first party Nintendo stuff, right? Because normally they rarely discount those, but Super Mario Maker 2 $40, Link's Awakening $40, Splatoon 2 $35. Fire Emblem Three Houses $35. God, that is such a good game, and especially at $35. So, yeah, go check out Nintendo eShop. They also have deals on digital stuff, but Walmart, Best Buy, and GameStop, they all have like Switch deals, which is very, very rare. So,
and if you're super poor and you're buying stuff for largely other people, let me give you a little hope. Every single Black Friday sale on games seems drastic. It's what everything will be on February 2nd.
Yeah, there's that too.
This is how much things will cost then. Don't worry.
Or the phenomenon I've noticed
where
I've noticed sometimes the discount is steeper for the Christmas sales or the post-Christmas sales than the Black Friday sales. And I'm like, should I wait another month to try to get this game for another $5 to $10 off?
I think that stopped a little. And I've always been a bargain hunter. The more digital gift cards started being a thing.
Sure.
Like, I think after January, things do stay. But in February, dude, everything drops to that price. And I was just, again, not to be a Game Pass whore, when you were like, Resident Evil's $20. I'm like, it'll be on Game Pass by January or March, like next year. That I promise you that game will cost you nothing if you're a Game Pass subscriber. And I can't wait to play it again. Lost it in divorce, and there's DLC coming.
No.
Oh, boy.
Well, there's no more news coming because that is all the news that's fit to play. But it's also the end of the game deal segment.
Which means I have to close it out with...
Thank you! Take my advice, do as I say, save a little money for a rainy day.
Thank you!
Look at you jumping the gun
so easy
on the joke you're excited for.
I can't get my voice... my voice is changing so much. I feel sick. I can't get that high anymore. Thank you.
Getting older sucks. You lose your falsetto. Yeah, you lose the high stuff. I hear you.
Let's move on to the community segment, which is always is segmenting our community. Last week's question of the week, you might remember, was, who is a game villain you would love to play as? And you wrote, Ubisoft stole our question for the...
They did. I saw Ubisoft post that like literally the day our show came out.
Oh, well. On VeggieGameApocalypse.com, Giant Shortstack says, I'd like to see a Legend of Zelda game where you play as Shadow Link sent to complete Hitman-esque challenges and feats to build up the inverted Triforce of domination, desperation, and deceit. Everything in the game would fit thematically into those categories. The disembodied voice of Ganon, or perhaps a sprightly imp named Ivan, would guide... Ivan, I love it. Would guide you like the devil on your shoulder, telling you to do wrong. there'd be a lot of going from town to town creating mischief and wreaking havoc on people's lives. Get rewarded for smashing all the pots in somebody's store. Help evil sorcerers and weird cults summon reoccurring bosses like Goma. I could picture sneaking into Hyrule Castle disguised as a guard only to have to fight Sheik when you get to Princess Zelda's living quarters. Obtaining the Triforce of Desperation could give you buffs and health if you get into fights when your health meter is low, and making that annoying beeping sound. There's a lot of fertile ground to play with the tropes we expect from Zelda games.
It's true. Although, I already get rewarded from going and breaking pots in stores and people's houses in Zelda.
Yeah,
they just don't call me on it.
Wouldn't the anti-Link not do that stuff?
Yeah, that's
and people
true.
are like, what are we going to do with all these fucking pots? I put it out and I even put money in it just so someone would break it and I could buy new ones.
We have a pottery overpopulation. Meanwhile, that green kid is earning a living normally. Oh, God.
That green kid. I do like that. From the official LaserTime community on Facebook, Joe Tonello says Kain, as in Legacy of Kain. Make no mistake, no matter how noble his intentions are or seem, he's a king that is doing everything in his power to rule over a world and return it to the vampires. He just doesn't want to rule a dead world. Once everything is said and done, it'll still be him on the throne, conducting business as usual. That's why I'd play as him. Go on a giant Shakespearean journey just to ensure my kingdom and reign over the land is secured. Indeed.
We got Shy Guy Fieri. He's saying, I want to take Doug's suggestion of a 3D Mario game starring Bowser. Really? Why has that not happened? That's my tutorial. And then expand on it, says Shy Guy Fieri. How about an open-world Bowser game in the style of Bowser's Fury? Where instead of fighting Mario, Bowser actually has to save Mario from warts. Fuck, I love this. Then over the course of the game, Bowser has big kaiju battles with the bosses from Super Mario Bros. 2. Holy fuck! I love this! Those characters have been so underutilized. And also add in, Shy Guy Fieri says these Mario 2 characters have been underutilized. Where's his disclosure? Also add in the Mario Crown as an item, because if Ultra Instinct Shaggy can be an official thing, then Bowserette should be an official thing, indeed.
Bowser.
Credit to Omega Mode for the accompanying comic.
Yeah. And the comic is just Mario and Bowser sort of looking at a computer screen, looking concerned and looking at each other, and Sonic comes along and says, give me a break, you guys haven't seen anything. Which I can only assume is Mario and Bowser looking at slash porn of themselves and being made very uncomfortable because...
To make a much less funny reference, I can only assume it's a jazz singer reference.
I don't know. Could be many things.
Could be the Microsoft acquisition of Nintendo. That's what they were.
Could be them looking at the voice actor news.
Film majors out there a little tickled by what I just said. Jeez.
We have a video response this week from Full Install, who says...
What up, VGA crew? It's England correspondent Tom here again from Full Install to answer your latest question of the week. What bad guy would we like to play as in a video game? I'm going to go with the T-1000 from Terminator. I don't think we've played as Liquid Terminator before in a game. I know we've played as Schwarzenegger loads, and it's always been shit, because he's a Terminator, so what's the threat? You've got to water him down so the average person can beat him up. Absolute bollocks. But what I'd like to see is a T-1000 game where you take the elements of, say, something like Returnal and make it cycle-based. So every kind of day you're being sent back to the past and changing things, or gathering intel and trying not to change things because the butterfly effect would affect the future too much. You've got to use stealth, similar to, I suppose you can make it like Hitman. You know, you can form into different people, you can use knives and stabbing weapons, and, you know, maybe gathering intel to send back to the future, and in between cycles you're battling in that awesome-looking future that no game has really done justice to. So that's what I'd like to see, a weird kind of hybrid game starring the T-1000. Get Kojima to direct it, there you go, make it super weird. Maybe they could have
I wouldn't be able to understand it.
Alternate ending to the first Terminator pop up where Sarah Connor averts detection from Schwarzenegger by changing her name by default so he can't find her in the phone book, or something to that effect. But yeah, I don't think we've ever seen him be portrayed in a game, so I'm going to go with that. I want to play as Robert Patrick with his pointy ears. All right, until next time, cheers guys, take care.
Love it.
So, new question of the week. Thanks everyone who answered. New question, who do you want to buy Sega and why?
Just to be clear, they're not on the market. Yeah. This was just related to our fantasy buying of Microsoft should have bought Sega. So.
Yeah, it was never something I really wanted to see happen, but I just always predicted it would. And I'm still shocked that it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I think, remember, it went the other way around where it was like you got Peter Moore going from Sega to Microsoft for those years, right? So maybe that's why. Yeah.
Man, this is a tough one.
But then, like,
I'd like to see Sega by Konami, but go ahead.
Yes, anybody. I'd like to see anybody by Konami. Maybe so. If you feel like answering like that, I won't dissuade you.
That's not my answer.
But I already answered yes, but it's only because there's a part of me who thinks Sega is the biggest game maker in the universe, because that's how I remember kind of growing up and getting into games and competing with Nintendo. Whereas here we sit in 2021 where Nintendo is competing with no one. It doesn't follow trends. It doesn't respond to movement in the games industry. It doesn't ape genres or franchises. It just doesn't do any of that. And I felt like it sort of did when Sega was around and competing with it. And because I don't know what the reason is, but like I want someone to light a fire under Nintendo to be at the top of their game again. And I think only Sega can do it.
Yeah. So my answer is a very practical corporate answer. I was kind of thinking like, okay, maybe of the big names. And basically what this question is who would you want to mash up with Sega, right? And I was thinking, okay, what other companies are out there that do maybe similar stuff? Bandai Namco. If they joined forces with Sega, you would get the premier Japanese publisher next to Nintendo. Like it would be very geared toward, think of like the stuff Bandai Namco's putting out there, all the anime stuff and all that, the Tales of series, and then now bring in Sega with all the Sega kind of, let's call it Sega weirdness, right? Like that's part of their charm was like this Japanese games. I think all of a sudden you'd have like a huge Japanese publisher right there. So Bamco and Sega sitting in a tree.
And I think if economists' predictions for what capitalism will eventually look like, we will be dealing with one giant game publisher eventually that might just be called Japan. And that's who we'll buy stuff from. All the races will easily be able to figure it out. It would be awesome.
I was going to say I'd like to see Nintendo buy Sega because I'd like to see what Nintendo would do with a Sonic the Hedgehog game.
They'd Vince McMahon it though, right? They would like fuck him over, but be like, no, pal, it really just wasn't successful,
Make him lose to Luigi in the first game. I want to make him look like a real bitch.
That could be.
Our roster's still the king.
But thinking about it, if not Microsoft, maybe Square Enix would be because I think they're a good custodian of other companies. If you look at what they've done with IDOS. The stuff that IDOS has been making since Square Enix took them over has been that's kind of some of their best output. The Latter-day Tomb Raiders, Sleeping Dogs,
Deus Ex.
Yeah, Deus Ex. Since Human Revolution, it's been really good. All that stuff is really good. And I think that Square has kind of shown itself to be we're good at, helping helping the companies that we own be their best while also letting them retain some of their identity. So
that might actually be a good pairing because Sega, similar to Square, they kind of have the Western division of the stuff that comes out of the UK, and then the Eastern Japanese games, and that's totally Square, right? Square, I used to make fun at E3, they literally had two halves of their booth. Here's the Japan side of our booth, and here's the Western games, which is all the IDOS stuff.
Here's the stuff with the guns.
Here's the stuff that we will throw under the bus during our shareholder meeting. But yeah, those are very similar companies, and they kind of you could see some synergy. There, the UK things will go more with the IDOS business.
Also, that might be a good fit because they published Balan Wonderworld, which totally would have been a Sega joint otherwise.
Oh god!
In a GameStop today, still $29.99. Who do you think you are? How dare you?
What if there were negotiations underway and that game caused that shit to not happen? It's just Sega's you published that? Oh, he pitched that to us years ago. We said no.
Oh my god! What? I'm just trying to think of how you pitch Balan Wonderworld.
It's a game you don't play.
Where you play as multiple characters, don't do anything for a long time.
I think the way you pitch it is, I created Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, there's that.
And I'm telling you, look at my eyes, I'll figure this out while I'm developing it. Because I don't know, what is the pitch on Balan Wonderworld? Seriously, did you play it?
I played
very, very slow. Yeah. They'll change characters to do what? They don't do anything.
This is a game designed to be played with Atari joysticks that have one button.
I can't believe you can do that. Wow, what an age we live in. But there's nothing other than awe here, and the awe is still 40 years late. Anyway, sorry.
So who do you think should buy Sega? Let us know. Go to VidjagameApocalypse.com and answer under the comments for episode 447. Alternately, you can visit us on the official Laser Time community on Facebook. There'll be a thread there where you can answer, or ping us on Twitter at VGApocalypse, and we will collect and read the best answers on next week's show. Anyway, that's been our show. What do we got to plug? We got new Laser Time out this week. You and I collabed on it with T.L. Foster.
Do not. Michael deserves all credit for this one, for both the research and spearheading it and making it happen.
I watched 10 terrible anime movies that were made in the US.
But I can't believe that's all there is. Like in latching on to Cowboy Bebop, there are 10 Western live-action adaptations of anime.
Yep.
And I
going all the way back to 1991.
Yeah. I mean, Japan does it, obviously, all the time. But yeah, like, only 2 of them are not incredibly embarrassing.
Yeah. I would say maybe 3.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
Did you talk Cash Earn? Because what you knew it was Western remakes.
Yeah,
Western.
Yeah, right. Like, Japan does this too much to be special.
Yeah, I was trying to mention that you had suggested we like, and there was one I was like, it's a tip of my tongue. I was like, what is it? Cashew? No. Kirin? No. Cash Earn. Okay.
Yeah. You guys tried to rope me into that episode. I'm like, look, I know my character on the mic is I hate anime. I still don't want to watch 10 of those fucking action.
We were talking about it. I'm like, Matt's right. This isn't right. We should not do this to him.
I mean, Fist of the North Star from 1995 is not good. I'm glad I saw it, but I did not enjoy seeing it.
Just go play that video game that was made by the Ryuga Gotoku studio.
I mean, consume anything related to these anime other than the live-action movies. They're all really bad. But listen to us talk about them, please. LaserTimePodcast.com.
You heard him. He said consume. Fucking capitalist pig.
Yeah, that's me. What else?
Hurt my armpit on my moisture-wicking workout shirt.
Oh, buy Chris a new moisture-wicking workout shirt. Go to patreon.com/lasertime.
A gift from my father. Michael just plugged LaserTime. Patreon.com/lasertime. New 30-2010 video game episode with you guys. And 30-2010, Nobody Puts Classics in the Corner episode with me and Sarah and Di. This episode is really fun. I found a Christmas movie. Diana liked a Christmas movie more than I did, which was very strange.
Wow.
That usually doesn't happen, and I can't remember anything else in the episode right now. So it's 2 a.m. Let me go to bed.
Well, I have to apologize to you listeners. I accidentally sort of lied. I had promoted a stream I was supposed to be on last week that didn't end up happening, but we are rescheduling it for the next few weeks. So keep an eye on our social channels at SD_studios, and I will be streaming Train to Busan with a member of my dev team at Striking Distance, and that is a great flick.
Man, if you've never seen that movie, dude, what a good excuse to watch this movie. Do it.
Yep. So you can come watch it with me on the Twitch, twitch.tv/Striking Distance Studios. It's going to be fun times. Hope to see you there.
Named after that wonderful Bruce Willis movie.
Yes. Man, you nailed it. Boy. Damn it.
I don't have anything else to plug other than get vaccinated. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Thanksgiving. Chanukah. Kwanzaa. All that shit. Whatever you do.
I mean, we still got a few more shows.
We'll talk to them before.
We're
not signing off for the year here.
No, but Thanksgiving will be officially over, and the second month of Christmas will have started, and there's nothing else.
How many months of Christmas do you think there are?
The same as Halloween.
It's like Hobbit Christmas. It's second Christmas.
2 months of Halloween, 2 months of Christmas, and depending on how much you like food and or hate Native Americans, like a couple days of Thanksgiving. But other than that, no. I'm just kidding. If you have any holiday traditions you enjoy, go do those. It really hasn't been the best decade. So just do something that you enjoy. A family. Are you guys going to do anything fun with a family that traditions that you're looking forward to?
So I already got the lights up on the house because I'm ahead of the game, but I didn't turn them on until after Thanksgiving. And then, our family thing is to go to an actual tree lot, and cut down a Christmas tree the day after Thanksgiving usually. So
fuck yeah. And then, Michael, you want to talk about...
I don't know if you've heard, there's this thing called COVID going around that's kind of prevented me from seeing my family.
So how is your family keeping up with your traditions? Like, are you doing the human centipede?
Yes, actually. No, we're looking forward to an exciting human centipede this year.
I call back.
Very
You
festive.
don't want to be the last person in line for that turkey, I'll tell you that much. You want at least up in there in the front dish. You know? Turkey's bad enough just on its own. I hate to say. I don't like turkey.
Why is this the festival bird? Like, do people like this? I don't know.
People do. People do. I saw a poll today where turkey beat ham 75% to 25%, and I'm like, you people are insane. Ham is delightful.
No.
It's forbidden in the Bible, and it's full of salt. Hello.
The 3 selling points. All right, let's wrap this up.
Oh my God,
that's been our show. Visit us online at VidjagameApocalypse.com, on Twitter at VGApocalypse, or me personally on Twitter at Wikiparaz. That's WIKIPARAZ. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Hey, is Banana Mania the Super Monkey Ball that came out this year? That's the new one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Banana Mania.
That's all I could think of too.
Mm-hmm.
When Eric plays Banana Mania,
turns into Banana Man.
Banana
Man.
Banana no. Do. Banana no.
Do.
Would have been a good secret sound. I'm glad I'm not recording.